It truly is magical to be here today on this stage, in this auditorium. It was here, a little over 7 years ago, that the late great Senator Ted Kennedy and his niece, the now Ambassador Carolyn Kennedy, endorsed the young senator from Illinois for the presidency. And they provided crucial support at a critical moment in the campaign, and that moment spurred the momentum that carried Barack Obama into the White House. President Obama's victory was particularly meaningful to me. I grew up in Denver, Colorado, the second son, all right, Denver, of two parents with two PhDs in what had become the newly desegregated America. As a child, I would come to Washington, D.C. to visit my grandparents and my aunts and my cousins. And my grandfather made a career at the U.S. Postal Service. But when he was in his late teens, he worked for the United States Congress in the Senate lounge. That's where he checked hats and coats and poured coffee and tea for senators and other dignitaries. Many years later, my grandfather and I decided we should attend President Obama's first inauguration ceremony. So at the age of 93, he walked over 4 hours that day to and from the ceremony with a great smile, a full heart, and without complaint. And as we sat there that frigid January morning as guests of Senator Ted Kennedy, our breath smoking in the chilly winter cold air, my granddad told me a story about another inauguration he had witnessed, that of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He pointed up at a window. He said, "You see that window, the small American flag draped underneath it?" I said, "Yeah." And from our angle, it was right over the left shoulder of where President-elect Obama would take his oath of office. He said, "I remember being in that lounge and gazing out during the inauguration of President Roosevelt. And it dawned on him, a fact that he was the only African-American face that he saw. And this was a time when our country was struggling for human rights and for people to be full citizens of this country. His words poured over me. His words poured over us. And as we sat there shivering that day, about to watch the first African-American take the oath of office of President of the United States, what struck me was not how much the world had changed since FDR's time, in my grandfather's lifetime, or the accelerated pace of change in this country. You have to remember, I spent my life at the confluence of technology and finance, and I was accustomed to warp speed transformation and mind-blowing change. But what I marveled at that day was how Barack Obama had the courage, in the timeless words of another Kennedy, the great Senator and Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy, to imagine things that never were and ask, why not? What is true is that we are only bound by the limits of our own conviction. We can transcend the script of a predefined story and pave the way for a future that we design. We just need to tap into that power, that conviction.